Stop me if you've heard this one. A coven of lesbian witches walk into a bar and make twins. No, that's not the opening of a joke, it's the opening of this week's Acolyte.
The following is a world-class Bullshitters exclusive.
For the last week, the Acolyte has been the hottest topic online as the war to protect the Disney Plus series from fans intensifies. At first, it was the review bombing, then it was the review bombing, and finally, more review bombing. If I sound like a broken record, it's because they do. It's the same crap, different series. This time, it's the Acolyte. Over the last few weeks, we've heard about the dreaded third episode of the Acolyte, the episode that would break Star Wars and alienate the old fans. Well, it's here. Did it break Star Wars? Will it alienate fans? Keep watching and find out. This is week 2 of The Acolyte here on WCBS. Thank you to all who watched last week's episode and welcome to our new subscribers. Now remember folks, I make these videos so you can avoid The Acolyte but still be up to date on all the hilarity. So join us next week for another one of these and join us live at 10 p.m. each Tuesday after the show airs for The Acolyte Postmortem. But before we get into that, today's video is brought to you by a product you all need. We all deal with annoyances in the real world. We all deal with annoyances online. What if I told you there's a way to get rid of all of that? Don't you just hate wokeness and the toll it takes on society? Well, bust it with Wokebusters! Set in a world where outrage turns people into literal monsters, Wokebusters follows the 4 men who step up to save society from itself. It's funny, colorful, and action-packed. This 100-page epic is only available on Kickstarter for a limited time, so act now before the clock runs out and wokeness wins. Got outrage? Call Wokebusters. Episode 3 of The Acolyte is titled Destiny. This week's episode is a flashback. It starts on the planet Brendok, where we see young Osha and May playing in the woods. They're stopped by a white Zabrak female who then takes them back home. There we meet their mother, a witch. They live among a coven of lesbian witches who use the dark arts to manipulate the Force. They call it the Thread. The girls were conceived by the Thread, without a father. After seeing the girls use the Thread, we learn about their mother's big plan. The Wonder Twins are about to go through the Ascension, the ceremony where they become one. Before the ceremony can be complete, but after an embarrassing musical performance, the ceremony is broken up by the Jedi who ask to train the girls. May doesn't want to be a Jedi or see the galaxy, but Osha does. The next day, we see the twins being told to lie on the Jedi test. After Osha's trick is realized by the Jedi, her Thread Force powers are revealed, and she decides she wants to be a Jedi, because she likes the way they wear the robes and carry the lightsabers. It doesn't go any deeper than that. After making the decision, May gets very mad at Osha and tries to burn her alive. The compound is destroyed and the witches die, but not from the fire. Their bodies are pristine, but they're dead. The girls are separated by an explosion and Osha leaves with the Jedi. We see Jedi Master Sol Korea tell Osha what happened and the misery of this episode ends. This was an attempt to summarize the episode without shifting into hyperbole, but now that it's over, holy shit is this terrible! The Acolyte is one of the most cringe-inducing pieces of media ever created. I won't even call it entertainment. Just like somehow Palpatine returned, somehow this show got made, and each week fans are dying a little bit more on the inside. The response to this episode is incredible as the truth is coming out and critics are giving up on making excuses. The third episode of Disney's The Acolyte is an embarrassment to the entire franchise, though the same could be said for much of Star Wars these days, outside of Andor and the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian. Here's one exchange between 2 characters in this latest episode. May, the Jedi are bad. Osha, the Jedi are good. Later, the same 2 characters, the twin protagonists/antagonists of the story as children in a flashback episode, say to one another, "What have you done? What have you done? What have you done?" I want to ask Disney the same question. What have you done? This entire episode is a bad joke. We learn that May and Osha lived with their mothers in a society of witches, all of whom are female. It appears they were conceived using the Force, or some Force-using witches are also apparently frowned upon in this galaxy. They call the Force the Thread, and you already know this part, so let's move on. This guy goes on to call the episode a disaster, but this article also goes to call out some of the people making excuses. IGN says the episode offers up a lot of tantalizing new layers of how we perceive both Jedi and the Force, and I would like to know if we use different versions of the word tantalizing. I'm confused about the entire motivation of May, who wants a revenge on the Jedi, but is actually the one responsible for killing everybody. If that is, anyone is actually dead. After all, both twins thought the other one was dead. It seems likely none of the witches died at all. Even if she didn't burn everyone to death, she certainly started a fire that she certainly must have believed killed Osha at the very least. The Jedi in Episode 2 killed himself over this, it seems. If there's no more to the story, then this will make absolutely no sense whatsoever. The witch chant is one of the lamest chants in the history of all chants. I wanted to giggle maniacally listening to it. I also wanted to cry. The Night Sisters are better witches. Merrin from Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor is a better female witch character than anyone on this show. This show had something like $180 million for its budget, and I cannot, for the life of me, tell where any of that money has gone. Every world feels small. Every set feels claustrophobic. There is no sense of scale or variety. It's also relentlessly generic, but hey, lightsabers! Rewatching The Escape with Sol and Osha, this room with the pile of bodies is clearly not from a fire. So yeah, there's more to that, but it doesn't change how ludicrous the whole I kill you bit is, and how May very much tried to burn her sister to death. Of course, it could be the bad production design, which the case may be, they did die from fire. Or smoke? Regardless, what a weird way to end the episode. The girls fight, the fire spread through what appears to be a stone cave. Stone! And then suddenly, they're passing all these bodies. We didn't hear any commotion or screaming or battle. It's more confusing than intriguing. Also, what's up with this tree? Someone has captured the chant footage. This was put in an actual TV show. We're supposed to take this seriously.
Power of many. The power of one.
I have no words. I do have a theory, however. Imposters have taken over Star Wars and lots of other popular genre properties, from The Witcher to True Detective. Maybe they're fans, maybe they're not, but they're certainly masquerading as good storytellers, and they think they know best, making whatever changes they see fit to make it their own. As Game of Thrones author George R.R. Martin recently wrote, "Everywhere you look, there are more screenwriters and producers eager to take great stories and make them their own. It does not seem to matter whether the source material was written by Stan Lee, Charles Dickens, Ian Fleming, Roald Dahl, Ursula K. Le Guin, J.R.R. Tolkien, Mark Twain, Raymond Chandler, Jane Austen, or, well, anyone. No matter how major a writer is, no matter how great the book is, there always seems to be someone on hand who thinks they can do better, eager to take the story and improve on it. The book is the book. The film is the film. They will tell you as if they're saying something profound. Then they make the story their own. They never make it better, though. 999 times out of 1,000, they make it worse. I'd say Star Wars deserves better stewards, but George Lucas didn't do a very good job of that himself in the later years. In fact, The Acolyte keeps reminding me of the prequel trilogy in the worst ways possible. Oh well, what a shame. I'll keep watching, obviously, and I really do hope it gets better. Next week's episode, which is too short and has an annoying cliffhanger ending, is leaps and bounds better than this one. So that's something to look forward to. Silver linings and all that jazz. Forbes hit the nail on the head. This dude gets it. That's probably why he follows us on X. This is peak Disney Star Wars. The Acolyte was bad last week, but this is the worst thing from Disney Star Wars. It's Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker's level of bad. It's obvious that the creators of this show are the imposters we discussed a moment ago. All established entertainment gets infected like this. You get people who want to make these things about them because they're selfish, entitled people only focused on themselves. Leslie Headland has deep issues with her sister and their life together. The audience doesn't care about her guilt. The audience cares about Star Wars and a story that makes sense. This one does not. In my notes for this review, I wrote multiple times, "This is Star Wars? When did Star Wars become a Korean drama? When did Star Wars become Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Who made this shit and who allowed it to happen?" The episode can't be topped. Some will be upset at the Force birth, since that undoes Anakin and makes him less special. He's supposed to be the one who brings balance to the Force and all that shit. So now these girls, these twins, well, I don't even want to talk about it anymore. It's the same story, just shittier. It's painfully obvious that they want the cat parents of the world to love this show. But Star Wars is about family, and these weirdos hate their family and tradition. It's like asking a computer to feel an emotion. These people just don't get human interaction. The Acolyte reads like stereo instructions. The characters go through the motions to get from point A to point B, and that's it. There's no nuance or humanity. We have angry lesbian stereotypes, witchcraft, and chanting. And why is witchcraft a selling point to middle-aged women? They keep wanting to put it where it doesn't belong. Agatha and all that crap at Marvel got people talking for one day during the pandemic, but who wants more of her? Now we're here all these years later, and they can't even stick with a title for the show. The answer to that question, who wants this, is the press and the people who make shit like The Acolyte, but not the Star Wars fans. Leslie Headland, make Hocus Pocus 3. Everybody liked Hocus Pocus 2. There are so many questions about this episode, but I can't care enough to think about them during the week. How does Saul know? How did the coven of lesbian witches really die? I don't give a damn. Star Wars has burned the fan base, and now we get the Acolyte or the Acolyte or whatever you want to call it. It stinks, and most of us do not like it. What will happen next week? I'm sure it's shit, and that's why you don't have to watch it. I'll be back next week with another review, but be on the lookout for another video already in production about this specific episode and the people masking around as creatives who make this show possible. I wish they didn't. So folks, what do you think about the Acolyte episode 3? You don't have to worry about hyperbole. It really is as bad as people are saying. And again, we watch it so you don't have to. But folks, I'm gonna go. I don't really have 3 questions for today. I just have one. How is this Star Wars? Folks down in the comments below who have suffered through it, let me know your thoughts about the episode. And folks, if you're not watching the show and you want to get involved in the conversation, tell us down below in the comments what you thought of this news about a coven of lesbian witches bringing balance to the Force with their immaculate conception of twins. If you thought this was some lame, hokey writing that ruined entertainment, well folks, you're not alone. And if you want to stop that, if you want to fight that, if you want to win this battle, well, there's just one way, one easy way to do so, and that's to call the Wokebusters. So folks, you can go over to Kickstarter right now or just click on the link below and get yourselves a copy of Wokebusters. It makes fun of the Leslie Headlands of the world. It makes fun of the Kathleen Kennedys of the world. It makes fun of the society that we live in a convenient, copyright-free, Ghostbusters-style parody package. So folks, that is available for just a few more days. So act fast so you don't miss out. I can guarantee you that you will have a better time reading Wokebusters than you will watching The Acolyte, doing your taxes, going for a jog, and a whole lot more. Folks, if I made a list of everything that Wokebusters is better than, I wouldn't stop, because Wokebusters is the comic book event of 2024, 2025, and every year moving forward. So, be the change in entertainment that you want to see. Back a guy who wants to make the stuff that you want to read, that you want to watch, that you want to see, and you want to listen to. Back WCBS and back Wokebusters. Folks, I'll be back next time tomorrow with another video because you guys love them. So as we push onwards to 200K, hit that thumbs up button, make sure you're subscribed, and most importantly, have your bell notification turned on to all, because directly from YouTube, you won't hear from us unless you do it that way, and the numbers show you want more WCBS in your life. So folks, get more of a good thing, hang out with WCBS. We'll be back live on Thursday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, folks, be smart, be safe, be cool, but always be excellent to each other. Stealing Solo asks the greatest what-if question of all time. What if a group of disgruntled Star Wars fans kidnap Harrison Ford and force him to remake Star Wars in their basement? That, and a whole lot more, is answered in Stealing Solo, a Captain's Parody. Stealing Solo has been called Laugh Out Loud Funny and the greatest Star Wars parody since Spaceballs, and it's available now for a limited time only. Go to stealingsolo.com, which is powered by Shopify, so you get the reward-winning safety and security, and get yourselves a copy today. Once we sell through this limited backstock, I'm going back to the drawing board to bring you the sequel, which parodies Luke Skywalker's fall from grace, and finally the closing chapter, which I can't wait to get to, Frankenfisher, the Bride of Solo. And yes, it's exactly what you think it is. So folks, the only way to get that is go to stealingsolo.com right now, get yourselves a copy, and enjoy the greatest Star Wars parody since Spaceballs.